Dear students, till now in water resource management we have completed with the 2 modules. Now we'll start with the third module where it is of integrated water resource management. So in this integrated water resource management module you will be studying about the different concepts, where first one is the definition of integrated water resource management, next is principles. The next one is implementation of integrated water resource management, legislative and organizational framework, times and forms of private sector involvements. So these are all the different topics which we study in the third module, that is integrated water resource management. So first we'll start with the definition of the integrated water resource management. So this definition you have already learnt in the second module while discussing about the water resource planning and management. So now let us repeat the same, where the integrated water resource management is a process which promotes coordinated development and management of water, land and related resources to maximize resultant economic and social welfare in an equitable manner without compromising the sustainability of vital ecosystem. So this is the definition given by the Global Water Partnership, that is GWP. See, as a whole, the name itself indicates integrated water resource management. So integrated means the combined action. So here we are interested in managing the water resources, because of which we will make use of the different sectors who are making use of the water in order to maintain the water and land resources, which are mainly helpful in the economic and social development with an equitable manner, which means giving equal importance to all the sectors who are making use of the water, so that we will take care of the ecosystem as well. So this is the overall definition of integrated water resource management. So next we'll study why this integrated water resource management has to be done, where it is necessary and why we are supposed to go with this integrated water resource management. So as you all know that nowadays we are facing the scarcity of water. So in order to overcome this problem, we are interested in conserving the water resources through which we can manage the water which is presently available for us. So there is a growing awareness that comprehensive water resource management is needed, because the first one is freshwater resources are limited. As we all know that the available fresh water on the earth's surface is very less, and because of which we are interested in managing the water resources. So the second one is those limited freshwater resources are becoming more and more polluted, rendering them unfit for human consumption and also unfit to sustain the ecosystem. So as we all know that even the freshwater resources are available for us, but they are not in the purest form, which means to say that due to the human intervention into the ecosystem, we are making the water to get polluted, which is unfit and unsafe for the human use. So the third one is those limited freshwater resources have to be divided amongst the competing needs and demands in the society. See, as we look into the social welfare, we need to study about the society or the place where the water is utilized in the different forms. So we need to check whether the needs and demands are properly supplied for a person living in a society, where we need to provide the fresh water resources for each and every individuals. The fourth point is many citizens do not as yet have access to sufficient and safe freshwater resources. So each and every individual will need a proper water facility to sustain his life. So nowadays, due to the pollution, each and every individual is not in a condition to get the fresh water which is safe. So the fifth one is it is increasingly realized that there is a huge potential to increase crop production and achieve food security through more efficient use of rainfall, through improved soil and water conservation and harvesting techniques. So this mainly tells about the utilization of the fresh water in the field of irrigation and agricultural activities. So we need to conserve the water during the harvesting techniques where we are interested in growing the food crops. So sixth one is structures to control water such as dams and lakes may often have undesirable consequences on the environment. So during the construction of the structures such as dams and lakes, we need to take care of the other environmental issues so that it should not affect the environment and the ecosystem. So the seventh one is there is an intimate relationship between groundwater and surface water, between coastal water and fresh water, etc. Regulatory one system and not the others may not achieve the desired result. So here there is a interaction, continuous interaction between the surface water and the groundwater. If the surface water is plenty, then only the groundwater will be recharged. So that there is a interaction between the groundwater and the surface water. So as a result, we need to conserve this surface as well as the groundwater resources. So these are all some of the points which mainly explains why we need to go for this integrated water resource management. So as I have told you, it is a combined action where there is a responsibility of all the different sectors who are making use of the waters, and hence engineering, economic, social, ecological and legal aspects need to be considered, as well as quantitative and qualitative aspects and supply and demand. So moreover, also the management cycle where the planning, monitoring, operation and maintenance, etc. need to be consistent. So if there is a balance or the participation of all these different sectoral involvement, then only we can make use of this integrated water resource management. So this is about why we need to study this integrated water resource management. Next, coming to the principles of integrated water resource management. So mainly to work this integrated water resource management, we have three different principles. The first one is social equity, second one is economic efficiency, and the third one is environmental sustainability. So this is mainly popularly called as 3E's principles, where equity, economic efficiency and environmental sustainability are involved. So first we will see with the social equity. So social equity means ensuring equal access for all users, particularly marginalized and poor user groups, to an adequate quantity and quality of water necessary to sustain human well-being. The right of all users to the benefits gained from the use of water also need to be considered when making water allocation. So this mainly tells about the social equality which has to be maintained during the allocation of the water for the people living in the different areas. So here we are interested in considering the equality among the people living in the society, where each and every individual are giving the equal rights to make use of the available water resource, and also the rules and regulations which are to be followed. Second one is economic efficiency. So which means bringing the greatest benefit to the greatest number of users possible with the available financial and water resources. This requires that the most economic efficient option is selected. The economic value is not only about price, it should consider current and future social and environmental cost and benefit. So we need to go with the integrated water resource management in such a way that the economic efficiency also should be maintained. When we are investing the huge capital, it must be in a successful manner so that it will be very beneficious. So the cost which we are involving in the use of the new techniques or implementation of the new projects, it has to be maintained where it should think of the economy also. So the third one is ecological sustainability. So this mainly requires the aquatic ecosystem are acknowledged as users and that adequate allocation is made to sustain their natural functioning. Achieving this criterion also requires that land uses and developments that negatively impact the system are avoided or limited. So this mainly things about the sustainability means the proper life which has to be led by each and every individual. So when we are implementing a new project, it should not affect the ecosystem. Or say for example, we as a human being are making use of the available land and other resources which are essential for us, which are adversely affecting the ecosystem, where there are many different living beings which are living in the ecosystem are affected. So that we should also take care of the ecosystem which is to be maintained by each and all of us.